You're bringing the meaning. You do that by saying this, you feel it in your body temple. This is meaningful to me. I do things where I can tell the meaning is full. I have the say. That's how you do it. We're not making meaning, we're bringing the meaning.
All right, this is a juicy and fascinating conversation with Dr. Reverend Joanne Coleman, who has been one of my longtime mentors and teachers. She's with Agape International Spiritual Center in Los Angeles, and she has a lot of nuggets of wisdom, especially if you are someone who deeply cares about the earth, wants to create a life of meaning, but sometimes might just feel tired or burned out or wondering, like, how do I actually make a difference that matters? She has some nuggets for you in this podcast. We go through a lot of different metaphors, a lot of meandering places. So stay with us, let your visual brain turn on and your logical brain tune down, and enjoy the ride. Big hugs. Okay, welcome to this episode of Eros Earth. I am so glad you're here. I'm here with Rev Joe, one of my favorite mentors of all time. Welcome, Rev Joe.
Yay, it's good to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. Wow. So I recently listened to one of your talks. Again, I've listened to many over the years, but this one was Your Hunger is Holy. And you were talking about how important it is to notice when you're hungry, when you're thirsty, when you're satiated, physically, but also spiritually. Yeah, and I'm just curious, how do you know when you're hungry or you're thirsty spiritually?
I think that there are emotional signals in the woman's body that she is like, she went and got a drink of water and that wasn't it. You start like trying to see, is it my body? Because the signal, the intuitive signal is going to come up through the nervous system. So you might try, I want a bite of Snickers. I want, a French fry from the refrigerator. You might try things and then you notice that the hunger stays there. So now you got to look for or notice that this particular hunger or this thirst needs emotional nurturing, emotional feeding. And you can trust that over time, as you decide, as you're interested in distinguishing hunger, physical hunger from spiritual hunger or emotional hunger, your skill at detecting the nuanced differences gets better and better. I lost 103 pounds by doing only one thing, noticing when I was hungry and when I was full. And it took a bit of doing because I had collapsed them and also just hadn't thought that they could be different. Over time, though, my intuition started to sound a little different than my body hunger. And I began to trust that intuition, that hunger for something. And around me, then I would have like spiritual practice. If I was hungry for something from the inside out, then I could go sit in meditation, go do some contemplation, write in my journal with a fun prompt. Right now, I'm hungry for, or take the hunger for a walk. Sometimes a nice walk, they get physical, bring a physicality to it, helps satiate it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. First of all,
Yeah.
I want to celebrate that you lost over 100 pounds by noticing your hunger and your satiation. And I've been thinking about hunger signals lately. And, we live in a culture that consumes a lot, right? We're buying a lot, we're purchasing a lot, we're trying to consume all these experiences. You would look at our culture and think, oh, we're perpetually hungry, but maybe we're not sure what we're hungry for. Yes. What do you think?
I agree. I think like you do, I think we don't know. I think some of it's collapsed. That I had hunger and thirst totally collapse. So when I really needed a drink of water, I had a French fry. You know what I'm saying? I had collapsed hunger and thirst. And to uncollapse them was part of my spiritual practice, that it's okay to have a desire for an internal quenching every day. It's like food, but it doesn't want physical food nearly as much as it wants contemplation, attention, and intention. You know,
Yeah.
So
true.
yum.
Yeah. When I look at what, you're in the US, I'm from the US, but so if we look at like the US, a lot of what people are consuming is things, media, social media. What do you think they're actually hungry for?
I think they're hungry for peace inside themselves, that there's a rumbling like hunger, right? And they're looking for what they could put in that rumble that would satisfy it, where they would find peace. I think they're looking for friendship with their internal life, to be befriended by it and befriended. And so there's, we're USers, so that's not usually the standard. That's not usually taught. It's just taught to go get a new pair of shoes or a new pair of socks or a new a new gold ink pen. But that won't do, because that's not what the hunger is for. I'm hungry for being kind to my own self. I'm hungry for self-forgiveness. I'm hungry to call a friend and have fun on the phone or have lunch with someone I love. I'm hungry for connection. And without connection, it just leaves me wanting. And then our society thinks it has the remedy. But if you're hungry for something spiritual, you need a spiritual solution. You can't have a physical solution for a spiritual hunger. They have to match up. Hunger for hunger.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I think about, so I often in my life have struggled with this feeling of restlessness.
Yeah.
There's got to be more out there. There's got to, I need more. And I think that is a symptom of our time. And so if someone else listening to this is feeling that kind of restless rumbles,
yes,
that they think might be hunger for shopping or hunger for food or hungry, what would you invite them to do to listen to these rumbles?
I would invite them to find a spiritual community that they can participate in on a regular basis. They don't have to have full agreement, but there might be a New Thought metaphysical church in your community, and you would go there because maybe the hunger is mostly for connection. And so I would recommend connection, intimacy, getting to know someone, befriending another person, or volunteering at a shelter, to figure out a way to make a contribution on a regular basis. So Thursdays are contribution Thursdays, I would recommend that. Mm-hmm.
Sounds like what people might be really hungry for is meaning and intimacy.
Well, yeah, we need our lives to be meaning, but we think we go do the things to find meaning, not realizing we create the meaning. We bring the meaning. We can't go search for the meaning. We are the bringers of the meaning. I get to say what this means to me. I get to say what I cherish. I bring the meaning. And that's not quite the usual U.S. value. Most of the time we're searching. That's how that old country western song, searching for love in all the wrong places, not realizing that we are the bringers of the love. We're the bringers of the dawn. We bring what this means to our own awareness. I get to say what it means.
Mm-hmm. That reminds me of the saying, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? Where Americans were always in pursuit of something.
Right. And that probably was a great phrase in its day and time. But now, because we were getting emancipation from England, we weren't allowed to pursue our inner dreams, the things that actually do satisfy us, bring us peace, calm, love, intimacy, and closeness. And they put that in there so that we could, yeah, it's worded like we'll always be in pursuit of more, and there will always be more, but we don't have to chase it. More will arrive. More can be attracted by our heart's being, the signal we send out. Yeah, so we're not chasing the meaning anymore because we needed to, smooth out that translation, get it more modern, that we have a right to choose what makes us happy. We get to know, first of all, what makes me happy, and then do some of that.
Yeah, when you said something, you're not searching for meaning, you're making meaning.
Bringing it. I'm bringing the meaning. I say what it means. I'm not searching for that thing over there to tell me what it means. I'm telling it what it means. My relationship, our friendship is meaningful because I say so. I got a say in my life. It is meaningful because I said so. I feel so. And therefore I pursue it.
That resonates in my heart. And I'm like, yeah, I want to make meaning. And then my brain is like, how? How do I make meaning? How would I do that?
By saying so. A say. I'm not, and let me make sure you're understanding. I didn't say make meaning. I said bring the meaning. Because if you're making meaning, you're thinking that something's still over there versus you are the candlelight that lights the room up. You're bringing the meaning. You do that by saying this, you feel it in your body temple. This is meaningful to me. I do things where I can tell the meaning is full. I have the say. That's how you do it. We're not making meaning. We're bringing the meaning.
Oh, it sounds so subtle, but it actually brought tears to my eyes. So
yes,
it feels really different.
Yes, it's very different, but it gives you the power and the say so in your life. You get to do the declaration, the proclamation. This is meaningful to me. Therefore, if I'm a play with the Constitution, then I will move in its direction, pursue it, have some more of it. 2 more tablespoons of that, please. Because I'm bringing the meaning. I am no longer making meaning. I'm bringing it. I say.
Yeah. I can imagine. It's a subtle shift to imagine that you are the light that then brings that light, rather than I'm looking for the light. Where's the light? Light, where are you?
Right. Because it's like, can the candlelight tell it's lighting?
Yeah.
That's what someone standing on the outside would say it's doing. But the light itself is just lighting, just glowing, simply shining, being itself. And it doesn't have to be self-conscious. It's just, I'm the light. And sometimes, Megan, you just have to declare it. I'm the light that's lighting up this room. You're doing your podcast because it is a light. You share the light and bring shared meaning to the podcast. It lights both of us up. We're lit. And we brought the meaning.
Yeah.
The meaning isn't outside of us. I brought it.
Yeah, you brought it.
You're the bringer of the dawn.
The bringer. Thank you. I'm going to keep rolling with these metaphors because my brain likes to talk in metaphors with you. And I hope the listeners also have a metaphor brain. If not, maybe translate into whatever works for you. But I was thinking about the state of the world, right? And there's so much that I want to change, especially around climate change. But I read this line. It was like, be less of a forest ranger trying to manage and more of the canary that sings beautifully.
Ooh.
And I'm curious about your thoughts on how you be the light in a world that has a lot of, it seems to me like a lot of dark right now.
Yeah, but the light, one candle makes a difference in the biggest, darkest room. So you bring the light, you bring the kindness, you bring the intimacy, you bring your imagination, you bring the love. You do it anyway. Maya Angelou wrote a wonderful book. the book is an autobiography, and I love the title as much as I love the book. And the title is I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. And that's because that's what we do. We sing. You sing anyway. You trust. You be as free as you can anyway. You do your inner climate, that climate in your home, the climate in your backyard. You do climate where you can climb it. And you do it anyway. You sing anyway. The birds are singing. There's so much going on. And it's only the candle that's going to make the difference. So being a light anyway, being joy anyway, cherishing the love of your family anyway, letting yourself be loved anyway, in the middle of it. That whole civil rights movement, and the monks are walking, they're just walking candles anyway, no matter what. They're walking for peace. So you vacuum for peace. Did dust for peace. You make a meal, you do the dishes, you go for a walk for peace. You do it all in the name of, in the nature of, because you know why the caged bird sings, because it has a song that goes beyond the situation and the circumstances. And that song ignites the light in each one of us. So we collectively are all singing. And what a sound in the forest of humanity. And of course, the system would prefer you collapsing versus singing, because you're much more able to be controlled if I got you sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Than if
so
you see the light.
You've lived through a lot of movements, right? You've lived through the civil rights movements. You lived through,
Yes.
COVID. You've lived through a feminist movement. You've lived through a lot. How do we actually create change? Like, as this generation faces, I think climate collapse is a huge thing this generation is facing.
Yeah. Well, you go find the volunteer organization that makes a difference. Or if you're full, your life is full, and you can't go volunteer, you send a check to that organization to support the people who are doing the work. And all of us are doing the work by staying cheerful, by staying in love, by being great anyway, kind anyway, loving anyway, peaceful anyway, by walking like the monks anyway. That's what we do. So you contribute the way you can.
Mm-hmm. I saw that. That's really cool. I saw this saying that was like, make hope normal again. I think hope has almost become, in some circles, uncool. Like, it's more cool to be cynical or jaded or angry.
Yeah. And you can set a timer, and you can do 5 minutes on each one of those, and then go back to the song that has not been extinguished. That's the difference. You have a song that cannot be extinguished, and you have a light, like those tricky birthday candles. You blow them out, and then they reignite. Right? I love those candles, because that's what movements do. They reignite. They stay ignited beyond situations and circumstances. In the middle of the storm, they sing. All movements had a song. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. And they started that with only what was true inside of them. They trusted their inner light, and then started doing small behaviors, creating small communities, and doing small activities until they marched to Washington, until voters' rights got changed. And that's what we'll do. We'll do the small things we can do. What can I do today? One thing for sure, not be depressed. Because if they get your brain, they got everything, right? They get your mood, right? There's an orange man in a white house who thinks he can make this difference. He's just not as ripe, mature spiritually as you. He can't see. But we know that the truth will rise because there are birds singing in forests he doesn't even know about. And that's us. Mm-hmm.
What do you think is ripe? What's the truth that's ripe right now?
The truth that's ripe is this conversation. This conversation, and the viewers is going to go out and touch. That is touching you, that is touching me. And then we go out and touch other people, having been drenched in this mood, been open to the light, to listening to the song. We are the difference makers.
That is, I love that. And your concept of ripe and unripe has changed my life. Absolutely.
Yes.
Like knowing when something is ripe and when it's ready to eat and when it's not yet.
Yes.
And this is maybe a cool segue into, would you mind telling the story of Adam and Eve and maybe a quick background of how you came to interpret Adam and Eve?
I was blessed with a work finding me called the Semitic or Aramaic approach to the Bible. And in it, by using the language it all happened in, it didn't happen in Renaissance English. The book did not, none of the book happened in English. English wasn't even on the earth when that book was happening and being inspired to be written. Adam and Eve is a story of a culture, and they're explaining how they got here and what the meaning and purpose of their life is. Only they're saying it and doing it in a culture where fertility and sexuality is primary. So many fertility ceremonies. And this particular writer inside this culture has a revelation inside of himself that says, you know, if you ask what came first, the chicken or the egg, this culture says the rooster.
Right? Yeah. This one, meaning the one we're in right now, right?
That's right. It says
the chicken and the egg, the rooster.
The rooster. So this story of Adam and Eve has the rooster, has Adam being made first. And it would have to be, if it's going to match the culture it's rising from. And then have Eve be made from some body part of the man. I know that this story is culturally accurate, though not biologically accurate, because the egg is always first. You can't clone sperm. You clone the egg. It's always female. Yeah, the cloning.
So let me just pause real quick. So the Adam and Eve story that most of us have heard, the one I heard growing up was, it's based on a Renaissance English cultural interpretation, right? It's
based on the Semitic Near Eastern culture that by the time it was written, sexism had been invented. So the story is going against all the fertility cultures because they want a God that can create without fertility. And so this God doesn't use menstrual blood or eggs. It uses words. It says things. And so it's a sculptor who reaches in, creates a sculpture out of mud, blows air into its lungs, and it becomes an animated being. That's this particular culture's version up against the fertility culture that it found itself in. And so it's up. Am I saying that right? It's like everybody believes in birth. And then this God is going to be a God who can't do birth because he's male. So he's going to do words and proclamations.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you read the story knowing Aramaic, which was the original language of the Bible.
Yes.
And got a different view on the story.
Well, just because I know that would bring me that much, that this view of the story is up against what was actually going on at the time. because a people is going to come out of it. The Jewish people are going to come out of it, and they are going to not be in agreement with all that has gone before. So they're making a left-hand turn to a male God instead of a female God. God is ceasing being female and birthing things into existence, into a male God who says things into existence. And so you see that the story matches the culture it's coming from. So they're going to have the man first, the woman second. That's culturally right for that culture, not because that's the way biology works, but they're not doing it from a biological standpoint. They're doing it as opposition to or contrast to what has gone before. And so we have a beautiful garden setting with a garden meaning like an orchard. And we have God in the orchard, and he makes Adam and eventually has to make an Eve, because if he doesn't make an Eve, Adam is in the garden with all the animals and he has no sexual partner, no matching partner. So, oops. So God has to remedy that by making him a female, someone that human like himself, so he could not be messing with the animals. And eventually the story that the revealer has is that all the trees can be eaten from except this particular tree. Now we know that in this story, it won't be a good story unless someone violates that command that you don't eat that from that particular tree. In King James English, it's rendered the tree of good and evil. You can't eat from the tree of good and evil. In Aramaic and Hebrew language, it is the tree of ripe and unripe, a tree of the knowledge of ripe and unripe. That's very different from good and evil. And that's about, you have children, so they can't eat everything. They have to eat what works for their little bodies. Otherwise they got tumminess. So the story, of course, is a yummy story. So they're going to have, of course, it has to be the woman because of the culture. It's got to be the girl. She's going to be the bad girl, and she's going to go over there and get tempted by an ancient symbol called the snake. And she is going to reach up and get that fruit, have a bite. It's going to be delicious. It's going to give her knowledge that she didn't have before. She was innocent. She only knew one thing. And now she's going to know this and of that. And it's so tasty, she offers some to Adam. He takes a bite. And of course, they can't live in the innocent orchard anymore because they know too much, so to speak. Now they get to create a world which is going to have them exiting that state of mind, the Garden of Eden, and move to another location and create a world that eventually will have you and I in it. Yahoo! And it's as it should be. And all of our lives, we will be noticing if a teaching is ripe or unripe, be right for us. Can we digest it? Can we live it? Like that distinction between I'm making meaning or am I bringing the meaning? Ripe and unripe. And I love it. And I also be a naughty girl and say, Adam should have taken 2 bites. One wasn't enough. And so he's eaten from a sense of what gave him a distinction between himself and God, between himself and Eve. And that tosses you out of a child's consciousness where everything is smooshed together and there's only one thing. But this story is as it should be because it's explaining the journey of humanity as it leaves the garden, and now we're all on a return to the garden.
Wow. What I love about that interpretation is that You say we're leaving the garden almost of like spiritual psychic childhood.
Yes,
We
it
can't
is.
distinguish. But now that
Yes.
Eve and Adam have eaten these ripe fruits, they now are going into the world to see what is ripe, what is unripe, what
Yes.
can we digest, what is good for us, will not be good for our bodies. And
Yes.
they have
And our minds, what's good for our minds, what's good for our hearts, what's
yeah.
good for the each other of us.
And in this version, it's not a sin, it's a responsibility.
Yes. Right. And a sin was a Greek word that just meant a mistake. Like if you go into acting, they say take one, then we got to take two. So a mistake, we're going to take it over again. And the story is unfolding as it should, because even in a place called not the garden, we get to notice that the presence of love is here. The presence of light is here. The presence of kindness is here, including any situation we find ourselves in. We are inwardly in the garden.
Has a whole different feel to me in my body.
Me too.
Right? When I think about, oh, good and evil, I've sinned, I need to atone for my sins, there's like this urgency and shame. Versus, I'm in this, we are all in this process of growing up spiritually.
Yeah. And you can keep a baggie and a broom and a dustpan, and if you make a mess, clean it out, sweep it up, put it in the compost patch,
Right.
Because we're all going to, sometimes each one of us has been inelegant with each other. And so what do we want to do with that inelegance? We want to clean it up. We want to repair it.
And your analogy of a take two, there's so much less charge or shame around it, right?
Yes, right.
Take two.
That's right. Because we can shift it. We can repair it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can apologize.
I think repair is a really important theme right now. Maybe we shift in that direction, because I've noticed that a lot of people don't know how to repair. And I think that's one of the reasons why intimacy feels big and scary, because we don't know how to clean up.
We don't know how to clean it up. So it takes a minute. They'll have to take some courses with you. We repair. And I like, in the world of repair, my favorite place of repair is in a Japanese art form called kintsugi. Kintsugi. It means to repair or mend with gold. Instead of hiding the scars when a vase or something breaks, they put gold in the place and push the two broken pieces back together, so each seam is golden. And so instead of hiding what got broken, we are now amplifying what got broken because it was repaired. So Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. So if he had had some kintsugi masters around, they would have put him back together again. And part of the repair is that it's repaired with gold, with goodness, repaired with kindness, repaired with, wow, here's what you can expect from me in the future. I've put something in place so I don't do that again in your direction. So I put gold in there, kindness in there, empathy in there, song in there. And so now the scar has gold in it. I just
pictured like an older egg that has cracked and repaired so many times, the whole thing is luminous gold.
That's right. That's right. We say yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, it makes me think too about aging, right?
Let's do
it. And I think culturally there's so much emphasis on new, right? Anti-aging products, new things. And at the same time, what is needed is to learn to repair, right? To like fix our clothes, to mend things that are broken instead of just chucking and buying new.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. And yeah, we've been a culture that has thought youth was the be all and the end all, because we have looked at the end, this thing called death, as almost like punishment. Like, and so we haven't had good words about it. Maybe now we're growing them as people can hear from the other side better than they used to. And so it's exciting to have had so many stages of ripening and having seasons, a new season with every decade, because what I wanted in my 20s, I may not want right now, or maybe I got it satisfied, you know? And so now there's some fresh wantings. So what I want, my desire, it's actually holy. That the wanting, the yearning, and the longing can be seen also as guidance, as direction. So instead of making a New Year's resolution, I'm trying to do a revolution that will change how I'm living. I want to know, what is it that my heart desires, and use it as guidance and take a small step in the direction of its fulfillment. I heard on Sunday that the most important step we will ever take is the next right step. Wow. So our desire, it's a signal from the inside out of a direction to go in, to do our spiritual practice for, and trust that yearning, wanting has a fulfillment.
Yeah. And
One has a fulfillment. The hunger wants to be filled.
The hunger wants to be filled. And what you just said too about your longing will change as your seasons of ripeness change.
Yes.
And the first episode of this season of the podcast was about permission to evolve, right? To notice and what used to satisfy is no longer satisfying you anymore. And you're longing and hungering for something new. And in your words, that might be a sign that you're ripening into a new season.
It sure can be. And you can trust it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could trust the hunger.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we've come full circle. We're back at trusting your hunger. I love that. Thank you, Rep.
Yes.
What a beautiful journey we've been on.
It is. It's very beautiful.
Let's see. Well, first, I just want to say thank you so much for your wisdom and your teaching. It has absolutely changed my life. And I know that it has changed thousands of people's lives and rippled out. So say that.
Thank you. It's been wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Invite me back. I love talking with you and exploring with you.
I love it too.
Yeah.
And if you were to leave the listener with one practice, song, or question, what would you like to leave them with?
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I would leave that a small candle changes the atmosphere of even the biggest room, that your life matters and it makes a difference, and that you can trust the light to lead you to the people you need to meet, to be the difference maker. Each one of us can do something. We can't do everything, but we can do one thing. And so take the next right step in the direction of your longing.
Thank you so much, Rev Joe.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. All right. Until next time.
Until next time.
I hope this episode touched you. If you loved it, share it with a friend or family member, or you can leave a review to help get the word out. Thank you. Until next time, root down, open up. Eros Earth.